Hello and welcome to the 18th episode of the My Hero Academia podcast. I'm Sophie.
And I'm Ash.
Today, because there is no anime again, we're going to go over a large and interesting Uraka traitor theory that was sent in to us by email. But before that, we have a little bit of news. So, Ash, you were saying that the Two Heroes DVD is coming out next year?
Yeah, I heard that the My Hero Academia Two Heroes movies, the DVD, I think, is slated for release early next year, which is pretty fast considering it just came out, like, not even a couple of months ago. But seems to have done it seems to have been really popular, so I'm excited to see how well the DVD sales are going to be for it.
Yeah.
So I'm just quickly looking it up, and yeah, it's coming out. So the Blu-ray DVD will be coming out February 13th, 2019.
Cool.
So anyone that missed seeing it in theaters, you'll get your chance to get your hands on it relatively soon.
And if you live in the UK and Ireland, you can go on www.myheroacademiamovie.co.uk. And then if you look on the show times, you can look and see what cinema nearest you will be showing it. It's only on December 4th and 5th in the UK and Ireland. But it looks like there's pretty good showings, because even near me, there's a cinema that's showing it, which I'm very surprised. I thought I would have to get the train into London.
Oh, no, that's cool.
Yeah. But then after that, if the DVD is coming out in February, then we haven't got a confirmed date specifically, but My Hero Academia Season 4 is going to come out spring 2019.
Yeah.
Yes, it'll be a busy time.
Series is just skyrocketing in popularity.
I'm so excited about seeing the film. I really hope I can make it, because the weekend before that, I'm travelling up to my friends to watch her do a charity boxing match. So I've got the weekend off for that. So I don't know if I'll have the weekend off. Well, I don't know if I'll have the 4th and 5th off to go to the cinema and see it. Yeah. It's quite doubtful. I'll probably have a shift then. But maybe I could make it if it's after 8, but it seems unlikely. Oh, it could be a night shift. But fingers crossed.
Yeah, same. I'm hoping you get to go see it in theaters.
Oh,
it is definitely one-of-a-kind experience.
Oh, I really hope I can go now. Everyone said really good things. You liked it, didn't you?
I did. I thought, my only complaint would be I thought it ran a little bit too long. I think it was the movie's almost 2 hours, and I feel like they could have cut out a little bit of it, but it was extremely enjoyable.
If your biggest complaint is that it was too long, that's some pretty good feedback.
Yeah, exactly.
This is my hero academia. This is manga news and more. Plus ultra. Ooh, they're my hero academia.
Okay. So this is quite a long theory, so I'm just going to read it off. If there's any bits that you think are particularly interesting, just please stop me.
All right.
So this has been sent in by Gary Kirtley II. So thank you, Gary Kirtley II, for sending this in. So he's saying that the traitor theory that was mentioned in an earlier podcast, he'd seen speculation on Uraka, but not much. He said, I have to admit that it is slightly out there, but he has a crack theory. Aside from her motive of a promise of a financial reward from the villains to spy, I have been analysing her actions from an is she the traitor standpoint. First, her latching onto Midoriya. The reason for this can easily be explained as an appreciation for his help in the entrance exam, though her interest and interaction with him started before that. Again, she asked President Mike if he could have some of her points in the exam. This too can be explained as appreciation. But what if she was working for the League of Villains, with their knowing from the start Midoriya received All Might's power? If I remember right, All Might did not know that All for One was still living, and All for One knew about All Might's weak form. They could have easily spied on her for the long period of time that Midoriya trained with All Might, as this was done on a public beach. While Shigaraki had been interrupted in his fight against All Might, his hate for Midoriya seemed more intense from his first encounter than was justified, if his interrupting the fight were the only reason for his hatred. So my conjecture is that the League of Villains was aware that Midoriya had a close connection to All Might, with All for One knowing the nature of One for All. I mean, people had seen them, but not many people recognised. We hadn't seen anyone recognise All Might in his slim form.
Yeah.
We just saw people recoil at his skeletal body. And it's not like Midoriya, even when Uraka first met Midoriya, she thought back of him as the plain-looking guy, didn't she?
Yeah.
So I don't know if those two would stick out. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, that's the kind of thing. Like, I am a crazy theorist myself, except for One Piece, so I kind of understand where this is going from. But I don't know. Like, so far, I'm just like, yeah, it sounds plausible, but there's not like any overwhelming evidence that's kind of swinging me either way, because we don't really know how much, like, this is the thing with, like, series like this. If the author is gonna do this, like, some of it he is gonna have to, like, straight up just hide behind, like, lies and complete misdirection so we don't figure it out. But I guess it depends on how much of an eye All For One's been keeping on All Might's actions after their fight.
We've not seen anyone so far in the League of Villains either with a particularly good scouting quirk. It's not like they've got like a Shoji or a Jiro that we've seen. Yeah. I guess the other thing is Shigaraki, his strong hatred towards Deku at the start. He seemed to have a strong hatred for anyone connected to All Might, and Deku got in the way of All Might's fight with the first Nomu.
Yes.
So I can understand his hatred for them, because he seems to hate anything. You could send a puppy in front of him and he'd hate you because you sent a puppy in his direction.
Yeah. Well, it also makes me wonder if All For One, if he did have someone on the inside, would he have told Shigaraki about it early on, or would he have waited until, his mindset was, ready to kind of accept that information? Because we know when Shigaraki, like, first came into the story, he was a lot more childish than he is now. Now he's kind of swinging into the leadership role more. So I wonder how much information, like, All For One's still withholding from him because he thinks he's not ready for it.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I think you're right. He's probably holding a lot back just to let him grow, and then he'll share the information that he can handle.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So I'll carry on. In that, if Uraka was a planted spy, her latching onto Deku would have an ulterior motive, as would her wanting to share points with him. Knowing that his score of 0 would not lead to him entering the school and making her position a moot point. Okay, so if she had known about it, she would have wanted him to have the points to make sure, because otherwise he wouldn't have got in. And okay, sorry, that took a while for me to understand.
Sorry.
In addition, Toga stealing Uraka's blood, while probably not cooperative, could have been done from Toga not knowing who the spy was, or she was jealous of Uraka's role and wanted to get close to Deku too. I like the jealousy idea. Mm-hmm. Finally, when Uraka develops feelings for Deku, she chooses to suppress those feelings to be more focused on her goal, and her inner voice does not specify that her goal is to be a hero. This could have a twofold meaning. If her involvement with him would get in the way of her secret mission, but also make sense from an admiration of the person she was hired to spy on being the issue. That's true. I guess it has just said, like, we know her goal, but she has expressed is money. But when she's talking to herself, she's not like, oh, I've got to be a hero so that I can save my parents from desperation. It's just, I've got to get better. And so he carries on saying, of course, she is almost always on Midoriya's team in missions/competitions, or present for exams, and the training that he is present for, which would be important in informing the League of the class's location. Of course, several characters knew the locations of these events, so that's not conclusive.
Yeah.
Additionally, I theorise that whoever the spy is received Ragdoll's tracking power from All For One, which would be very useful. One quicker thought is that All For One, having granted One For All in the first place, is able to see through One For All. The theory of a traitor is just speculation from the faculty at this point, and very well could be why Shigaraki shows up around Deku. And if I'm thinking right, he expected All Might to be at USJ when he wasn't initially. He might have just known that All For One was there. He might have just known that One For All was there. Anyway, sorry for the rambling. I have no online presence, so I don't talk about these theories other than with friends, and I just wanted to share. I do think that Toru is probably the traitor, despite my theorising, though Uraka is most likely if Horikoshi is going for a shock value. Oh, she would be a good shock value. It'd be good. Oh, it'd be a very sad development.
Yeah.
For Izuku as well, and everyone else. Sue would be devastated.
Yeah. I mean, just for pure shock value, having Ochiko be the traitor would, like, be up there, but, like, for the rest of it, I'm just like, a lot of the evidence towards it is, like, very, very circumstantial, and you had to kind of really extrapolate to get to the idea that she's the traitor. I mean, I can buy that she would do it for money, but I don't know, like, just given her general personality, I'm not sure Uraka would do something evil just for money, from evil villains. I feel like she'd want to do it in a more legal way. And I think my biggest problem I have with this theory is, where he said, when Deku couldn't make it through the hero entrance exam, she decided to give him some of her points. If she wanted to make sure, that Deku got into the hero course, wouldn't she then just help him kind of defeat the robot so he gets the points himself rather than coming back later and being like, oh no, I guess I need to fix this now?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how teamwork works in the exam, but no, that's true. She could have gone at it from a teamwork point of view.
Yeah.
Horikoshi puts a lot of thought into the puns and the names of his characters, and her name means, I think it's like bubbly chatterbox or something like that. It's a very optimistic, fun name. It's not like something that could have hidden meaning unless he's really bamboozling us.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's interesting. I would quite like it if she was the traitor, just because of all the character development it would lead to.
Yeah, I mean, it'd definitely be an interesting story direction to take it.
Yeah. What do you think of the idea of the spy receiving Ragdoll's tracking power?
Oh, that's interesting. That is kind of interesting because that's the one thing that always kind of struck out to me as weird. Is like when All For One took the power, I'm like, why would he take Ragdoll's power? Out of all the other Pussycats, and like everyone that was there, why that specific power? So it makes sense that he's using that to kind of keep track of whoever. If it's the spy that's doing it, that would make a lot of sense. They could always give updates on to, whoever they're watching, wherever they are. I don't know if that's going to be the case. Like right now, it's just complete and utter speculation. Although this does make me wonder, when All Might went in to talk to All For One in the prison, was he able to see him? Because he's talking about, how he used to be able to see, like, using infrared vision and stuff. So I'm wondering, did he give away all his quirks, or did he keep some for himself, just, like, be able to, like, see and do other basic, like, body functions?
He must have kept a multi... No, he kept quirks for himself with that he was attacking with, didn't he?
Maybe, I can't remember.
He was attacking with, with a lot of different quirks.
Yeah, that's true.
But the tracking power would be a great one to help break him out of prison at the right time. If they could just latch onto if they could latch onto all the different bodyguards and the staff, then they could make like a rotation of who's in and out and what would be the best time to attack. And they could also, if they tracked them where they were walking, they could create a map as well from the inside.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So it'd take a while, but it'd be a really good way of making not only him out, but other villains who are in there. Like we know Stain's there.
Yeah.
Buskiller might still be in there. Moonfish might still be in there.
I'm just waiting, because I know this is going to be inevitably going to happen. I'm just waiting for Stain to break out, because I'm hoping All For One just gives him like a massive power boost. And Stain being my favorite villain, I just am super excited to get him back into the story again.
Oh yeah, so many people loved Stain. When he comes back in, the anime viewers are 100% going to be spoiled. No one will be able to complain. They're excited.
Exactly.
This was a good theory. Thank you very much for sending it in. He sent some other theories as well. Did you want to go through them, or should we keep it for another week?
I could probably save those for next week, just because I think it's the manga's going to be off for next week, because Horikoshi seems to be struggling a little bit, trying to keep up the pace. So probably keep it for next week. We'll have something else to talk about.
Yeah. We're going to try and do another anime review. I think we got up to episode 4, so we'll try and have that out during the week or next week. But we'll go through the rest of the theories. If anyone wants to email us any of their own theories so that we can read out and debate them, please do. The email is myheropod@gmail.com.
This is my hero academia. This is manga news and more. Plus Ultra. Ooh, they're my hero academia.
Okay. So this is My Hero Academia, chapter 202, match 3. So we're starting off with Mushroom talking to Tokuyami. And again, now that she's back in her, well, she's not showing her sadistic side. Her eyes are completely hidden. She's saying, "Sorry there, Tokuyami. Want a throat lozenge?" He's like, "Keep your pity." She's like, "Well, you can get some medicine from Recovery Girls." He just coughs on. Apparently in her hand, what she's holding is an actual throat lozenge company. Minor product placement.
Man, I can't even make out what the label says on that.
No. I saw that on, that was on Caleb the Translator's Twitter at CD Cubed. He said it's a Japanese brand.
Okay,
well known for their round design.
That's a cool little detail.
And then we see Momo in a chair, and she's being wheeled off by two of the assistant bots, and Kendo's walking along beside her. So I really like their friendship. It's supportive and challenging in the best way.
Yeah.
She looks, I mean, she's obviously awake because she's sitting upright, but she's just swaying in her chair.
Super weak. Yeah.
Yeah. And the robots don't care about this. They're just mocking her. They require training in order to grow stronger. Absurd. We must summon the school nurse. Humans are utterly inefficient. Sassbots.
Yeah.
And then on the next panel we have Shinso and Aozawa. And Shinso's just looking at it. He looks quite shocked at what happened, saying they wrecked the place real good. The opposite of the first match. And Aozawa's just like, yeah, that's just how training is on the hero course. And we see the complete destruction that they're looking at, and the part of the arena has just been totaled. They went overboard with the destruction, though. Fukudashi, Kendo, you should know to keep damage to a minimum. And Azawa turns round to Vlad, who is 3 times as big as him, says, we should probably switch sectors. And Vlad disagrees, saying, you're thinking we should take a breather? Sure, but he's still holding the mic in his hand. And then on the next page at the top we have a panel with a pigeon just taking in the scene. Maybe the pigeon's the spy.
Oh, that's okay. Now I just came up with the theory on the spot. But what's the? Because there's the one in the class with the quirk that can talk to animals, and if that's the spy, he could just like send animals everywhere to spy on everyone, and no one would ever know.
He would be such a good traitor. Yeah.
And he'd also be really unexpected because I think he's even nicer and like more timid than Ochako is. So if it turns out he's the traitor, he just becomes like totally evil. That would be such a great reveal.
Yeah. Or because he is so timid, I guess maybe someone's being. Oh no, I was going to say maybe someone's being held hostage. But we've seen his coda. We've seen his mum.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah, it still could be. He would be a good traitor, and it would give him lots of spotlight that he desperately needs.
Yes.
We see all the students sitting around in their little pen, but we can't tell who it is, and they're just talking amongst themselves. Class B sure is full of tough customers. Someone from Class B was like, right back at ya. Those were some huge moves you pulled off, Fukudashi. It's like, yeah, but it messes up my throat. Gotta put up with the pain.
Love the gab sound effect.
Oh yeah, I didn't spot that. And we see Izuku, and he's sitting down with his team, and he's saying, needless to say, it's not just their quirks. They've grown mentally too, which further enhances their quirks. And then Yuraku's saying, you're writing it all down? He's still taking his notes.
Yeah.
She says, you've grown too, Deku. He just, I hope so. And then Mineta chimes in with, not as much as me, though. Mina's sitting there letting them have their little conversation, and he just goes in to try and pinch the limelight.
Yeah.
But All Might comes up behind him saying, Midoriya, I am here, unremarkably. He's so hard on himself.
Yeah, I love Small Might. I think I like him more than Big All Might.
Small Might. I like that. And he's ushering Izuku off, and Mina's just sort of watching, saying, those two are chummy. When I first saw this, I was like, why is he doing this in front of everyone? But I guess this is a class, isn't it? So they can't have their phones on.
Yeah.
And they're in their little pen corner now. And All Might's asking, Small Might is asking, any more weirdness since you know what? And he's just like, yeah, not really. And All Might says, I see. I'm planning to ask Gran Torino if my master ever mentioned anything. In the meantime, watch yourself, okay? In match 5, you'll face Shinso again, who triggered those vestiges before. And Izuku looks so sweet. He's just looking at him like right, as though it hasn't occurred to him when it must have occurred to him.
Yeah.
And then Bakugo comes over with a jolt saying, hey! And just terrifies Izuku. She's like, what? Kachan, you scared me.
Again with the sound effect of Kachan, just in the background.
Oh, this is still me, sorry. Yep. He's saying, the guys who made me swear not to blab, you sure do sneak around out in the open. You're going to get found out. You're going to get found out. Don't, and then it's more just Hermes saying, don't ahem me. So, something happened with One for All. When he came up, I know he came up angrily like usual, but I'm really glad that he did. Because pulling him off, like, if All Might just keeps pulling him off, like he has been, like to go for lunch and things.
Yeah, everyone's going to get suspicious.
Yeah, they'll probably get jealous as well, like teacher's pet.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. But he carries on. So, something happened with One for All. The power misfired. Sounds like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. So how long before this power is really yours, huh? Because I'm already stronger than the last time we rumbled. And he's just nodding, being that makes me nervous. And then All Might starts to think, oh, in his own special way, Bakugo's showing he cares. But no, that stupid grin grinds my gears, so knock it off. Perhaps not.
Back to typical old Bakugo.
Yeah. He always has these moments.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you think, oh, he's not that bad, and then
he just goes straight back to it.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to be starting with match 3. And so I'm saying, now that we've moved to the new arena, let's go on to the next match. So this must be Vlad King. Participants for the 3rd match, please prepare yourselves. And we're reminded again that in 1B it is Pony Tsunori, Sen Kabiara, Juzo Honeyuku, and Tetsu. So, do you remember what their quirks are?
I do not. I just know that Pony is a foreign exchange student, which I just remember because the anime mentions that she's a foreign exchange one. And the other 3, and then apart from Tetsu, I have no idea. Well, I think one of them we find out at the end, but I cannot remember what Sen's quirk is.
So, Pony, I think, has laser horns, is her quirk. She's the American transfer student. Sen, I believe, is the welding guy who was helping Momo escape and welded her tracker.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Juzo, his quirk is softening, and he used it. He can make objects go soft, and I think he used it to scare. Did he? No, he didn't use it to scare. That was Poltergeist. But he can make the grounds go soft, and people like fall in, and it can trap them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And then everyone knows Tetsu.
Every time I say his name, I always add in one too many Tetsus.
It's so easily done.
Yeah.
And then, so on team 1A, we have Shoto, Ojiro, Shoji, and Ida.
All right. So then next page, we have Tokoyami going up and saying, Todoroki. And you have a little speech bubble saying, receive treatment, got healed. He's like, He's like, I shamed myself out there. It's up to you now. He's like, huh? Why me? And Tokinomi's like, Hawks and Endeavor, we've apprenticed under the top two heroes who fought that last battle. We are honor bound to uphold their reputation. And you see Ida just, glancing back at the two, and Todoroki's like, that last battle, right. And he has a little flashback to Endeavor using his Flash Fire Fist Prominence Burn Plus. And he goes, you will learn these moves. There's no running from me and no running from yourself. And you see little baby Todoroki again, beaten to the point where he's just throwing up on the floor, covered in flames. And he's like, Irk. And Endeavor's like, Stan, don't be so damn soft. Toya came close. His fire was greater than mine, but he took after Ray in Constitution. Yes, he came close. And I just want to make a quick note about that Constitution comment, because one of my friends on Twitter pointed out someone gave a little translation hint for it. So apparently Endeavor says, whatever the Japanese was, which means cold constitution, genetic makeup, and it's specifically referring to the body. And so this kind of ties into, I think, a long held fan theory about who Endeavor's oldest son is. I think probably you want to wait till the end before we kind of talk about that, but yeah, he's like, but at last, I have you, Shoto. It has to be you. Only you can do this technique. Only you can fulfill my ambitions. And he's got Endeavor angry face, and Todoroki, poor baby Todoroki's just, sweating and crying, just throwing up is just, The next page is like someone snaps him back from it. He's like, Todoroki? He's like, are you okay? You looked particularly troubled for a moment. That's Ida talking, and he's like, did I? He's like, yes, something weighing on your mind. He's like, it's nothing, but thanks. And Ojiro's like, I didn't even notice since his face barely changes. Sharp eye, Ida.
But I guess we know that Ida and Shoto they're good friends, whereas we haven't really seen Shoto interact with Jiro, so it makes sense he picks it up.
Yeah. It's like the class president must always observe his peers and reach out to those in need. Ha 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 ha. He doesn't say ha ha ha, I just added that in. It's like, you're in high spirits as usual? And he's like, actually, it's because my dear brother has been doing better recently. It's like, oh, glad to hear it. And as I'm the one aiming to inherit Ingenium's mantle, observing others means everyone also has their eyes on me. Though I was absent for the ceremony, I too took third place at the sports festival. I must once again show that I have the mettle to meet my brother's successor. And then you see Deku again. I don't know if this is him looking at the group going in, but it might be. And then you have, sorry, go ahead.
So actually, I think he's just, because Ida said something that's quite, it's quite inspiring really, isn't it? So I'm guessing maybe he's watching this and he's just like, he's reacting the way the rest of us, like, you're so pure.
Yeah, just so proud of his friend. He's like, alright, and he's like, I know everyone treats me like an idiot, but I'm still a dude who got into UA, Not like I never use my head and just going whack, whack, whack as he punches the little steel pipes. And he's like, where's this coming from? He's like, this team we're up against, they'll all be search and destroy, yeah? It's like, true enough. So what's our move? Well, should be obvious. He's like, as we already discussed. I'm like, huh? He's like, we level the playing field, literally. And you hear crash, bonk, as he just starts smashing, the terrain around him as he levels the playing field, literally. And his classmates are like, that's idiotic. And you see 1A just watching as they see all the stuff just falling everywhere. And Vlad's like, did you listen to that last critique at all? And he's got a little shock sound effect. He's like, tricks and schemes won't work here. Gonna be a straight up brawl, so let's bring the pain. And we find out finally that Tetsu's hero name is Real Steel.
Yeah, but the steel's spelled incorrectly.
Yeah, apparently Horikoshi amended this later that it should be Real Steel, not Steal. And this reminds me of that Hugh Jackman movie about, the boxing robots, and I wonder if that's where he got the name idea from. And he's like, did you forget they have Todoroki on their side? Well, we can probably work with this. He's like, that's some soft and flexible thinking, Juzo. And then you have a reintroduction. It says, Juzo Honenuki, quirk softening. And then Pony's like, geez, don't keep us in the dark like that. He's like, see, Pony's busting out with the English. That's how you know she's mad. He's like, Tetsu doesn't mean any harm. In fact, his approach plays to our strengths. That's some soft and flexible adapting, Juzo.
Apparently, the sideways V's show that for Pony that she was speaking in English. So when the Japanese readers were reading Shonen Jump, they read that was in English. It wasn't.
Oh, okay. So was the original text then in English, or would it have been in Japanese still?
Apparently, it means that the original text was in English for her.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's interesting. And then it's like, all right, seems like they want a head-on battle. Come now, Class A, time for match 3.
Shoto looks tired.
You're just like, oh, I just want to be done with this and go back and just rest.
It's a head-on battle and just freeze them all. But Ida's still pumped.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'm hoping this is going to be because of what we had in the last page, that this will be more of an Ida-centric fight, but guess we'll have to wait and see.
I like that we've seen all of the 4 speak, and when we saw Shoji, all he said was you're in high spirits as usual through his hand mouth. But I like that they've all spoken, because I'd really like to know more about Shoji. Yeah.
So, what were the thoughts on the chapter?
The first thing, if we're going through like chronologically, when Tokiyami said, we apprentice under those 2 who fought that last battle, we're honour bound to uphold their reputation. I hadn't thought that would be something that Tokiyami would be interested in, but I like it that it is. Just adds another edgelord depth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like he's a traditionally loyal guy.
Yeah.
Like, it was only a small bit, but it was nice, and I guess it sparked off Ida's concern, because he obviously heard that. And then he knows does Ida know about Shoto's history with his dad? I think he might.
It probably does. I'm not sure. I have to kind of go and reread the sports festival stuff. Like, I don't know how open he is with his friends, because Shoto's always been kind of reserved, so I don't know how much he's actually kind of talked to the others about his past. Like, I know Deku knows about it, but maybe, like, Ida and the rest just know that something happened between him and his dad, but they don't know specifically, what the specifics are.
Yeah. Because I wonder if, we learnt that Ida's brother is getting better, but I wonder if he mentioned specifically the inheriting the mantle to try and make Todoroki feel a little bit better, like, it's not just on you. Maybe.
It might be. I think he's also back during the Stain arc. I think he mentioned that she does look up to his brother, and he might have mentioned back then that, this is like something that's been in their family. He's like the next up, so he wants to make them proud of who he is, so.
Yeah.
It's a good tie-in. So I think we should probably address the elephant in the room. So did this chapter confirm that Dabi is Todoroki Toya?
I don't know if it confirmed it, but when he said that Toya's fire was stronger than his, we know that blue and purple flame is stronger than orange or even red.
Yes.
So that's the sign. And then saying that he inherited his mum's constitution. People with mental health issues are often seen as weaker than everyone else, and I think, obviously it's completely incorrect, but with that stigmatization there, and Endeavour would 100% be the sort of poo head. I didn't know what other words to think of, so I came up with that. He would be the sort of twit that would agree with that.
Yeah.
And think he's got some sort of mental health issues, he's weak, just like his mum. He would definitely go along with that incorrect and disgusting thought.
Yeah. Although I don't know if this refers to the mental aspect, or maybe he just his whatever his body constitution was, it might not have been able to handle Endeavor's fire, for whatever reason, because we know Endeavor tends to overheat, his power makes his body overheat. So I wonder if that's what he means, is his firepower was greater than mine, but he couldn't keep it up for long enough, because Todoroki's thinking about, that massive, super, incendiary attack that Endeavor used. So I'm wondering if he tried to teach that to his son to Toya, and he's just like, you'll be able to do this move better than I can, but his body just wasn't able to like match that output.
That's such a good idea. I hadn't even put those two together. And so if it was Darby, that could be how he got those burns and decided, I don't know, to staple himself together.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a really good idea.
The other first idea I actually had about this as soon as I kind of heard about this idea was, what if the blue flame was just like an offshoot of his mother's quirk, like it just colored his flames, and they were supposed to be like normally orange, but I forgot that, blue flames do actually exist, and it makes more sense that you'd take after Endeavor.
Yeah. Oh, I really like the physical idea. Where do you stand on the Darby brother theory?
Oh, I think I've said this before. Like, I'm not really a big fan of Endeavor getting the spotlight and being like, oh, he's going through this whole redemption where he's trying to make it up to his family. And I know, like, the popular theory is that if Darby is Endeavor's son, he'll reveal, to the public that Endeavor's an abusive husband and father, and that'll kind of break the trust, the last vestiges of trust that the Hero Society has in, heroes. And it'd definitely make Endeavor crash and burn, because everyone's just going to kind of be like, oh, we always knew he was a bad guy, and this kind of proves it. But if Darby was, is the actual son, and he tries to go and tell people, this is what Endeavor does, I don't know if anyone would take him seriously because he's a villain. So I don't know if they'll basically be like, oh no, he's just lying, he's just trying to, make up stuff about Endeavor. And I'm wondering more than Endeavor, like, how is Todoroki going to react if he finds out that Darby is actually his brother? Like, would he be able to actually fight him if they were matched up? And would Darby actually be willing to hurt Todoroki?
Oh, I don't think Todoroki would be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just... Maybe at the start of the series, when he was an angry lad.
Yeah.
But now that he's softening up and he's getting back in touch with his family and he's spending more time with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what do you think about the conversation with Izuku and All Might, Small Might?
I don't know, it seems kind of interesting, like, he's hinting at the fact that something might happen with Shinso again, like, because, like he says, vestiges were triggered by Shinso using his powers on Deku, and, like, Deku tapping into, the whole, into, like, the past, into his past lives. So I wonder if this is just him foreshadowing that something is going to happen with this fight against Shinso, and they'll have to go to Gran Torino together and find out. Because we don't really know a lot about All Might's relationship with Nana Shimura. So hoping if this will be like finally the time when they go to Gran Torino, he kind of like gives them like the history of what happened with her and how her grandson, I guess, got into the League of Villains.
But they didn't know about the grandson, so Gran Torino wouldn't know about that, would he? He didn't know about Shigaraki.
Did they find out in the...
yeah, but they didn't know anything... Yeah, they found out that he's the Nana's son, but before that, Nana separated herself from him and sent him into a foster home separately, and didn't tell anyone so that he would be protected.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But
that'd be interesting then.
Yeah, I really thought that I was 100. Well, I was definitely 100% that the vestiges were going to come out, because we'd only just seen that, and then we find out that Shinso is going to be there. But this is just giving even more evidence for that. But I wondered why Gran Torino was mentioned, and why is he bringing it up to Izuku now? I think it's just to keep it in our minds that the vestiges are going to appear. You should be psyched for Izuku's fight.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, though, I want Shinso to win the fight against Deku's last time Deku won against him, so I kind of want this to be a reversal. So I'm wondering if that's going to be like a cool moment where it's like, oh, Deku pulls out the vestiges, or the vestiges kind of stop him from going all out. Like, he's going to have this moment where he's powering up, ready to pull out, like, a finishing move, and then the vestiges kind of stop him, and Shinso, like, makes him surrender.
I think it'd be quite funny if he went into like the zone where he was talking to the vestiges, but time was just real time was going on outside, but he was just sort of stuck in his mind having this conversation with them. And then he woke up and they were like, Izuku, You weren't doing anything. You just stood there for 20 minutes.
Oh, I love that.
What did you think of the chapter overall?
Chapter overall, anything was decent. Like, I'm not really the biggest fan of, like, the kind of team-up tournament arcs like these, because on the one hand, I like it when you get to see all the different team-ups and, like, how different quirks, like, either complement or work against each other, and you get to see, Class A, like, different, students in Class A team-up that you normally wouldn't. So in that case, it's really nice, but I just wish the girls would get something more to do, outside of the tournament arcs like this. Because someone asked me on Twitter, how do you feel Horikoshi's handling the female students in this? And I'm like, it's a great chance for him to kind of give everyone that normally, that isn't part of the main cast a chance to shine. But outside of this, if he doesn't extend that outside of this, it doesn't really do much for their development. So I'm kind of hoping that, if we get focused on them in this arc, and they'll start focusing on them outside of that as well.
I guess in this fight there's only Pony, but in the next one there's Uraka, Mina, and I can't remember. Oh, wait, in one of the fights coming up there's Poltergeist, and there'll be my favourite, who is Lizard Tail Cut Girl.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why, but I really like her. I think it's just her hero costume.
Yeah, no, she's got a really cool design.
I liked this chapter, but it was an interim chapter. Like, we got to find out some new things. The toy bit was obviously very interesting. The chat with Izuku and All Might, my favourite thing was Bakugo storming in. But I'm really looking forward to seeing Ida.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing this whole fight.
Yeah, it looks like it's got a lot of good setup.
Yeah. But I mean, the chapter's off next week, and I'm glad he's getting a break, because these chapters they've been great. They've been noticeably shorter, because they're only like 11 to 13 pages a lot of the time. Yeah. But I don't mind that, because the artwork's been great and the story's been great, but he deserves a break.
Yeah, the manga authors really do, they really do put in a lot of effort into getting this out week to week. Like, I can't even imagine, how much work it must take to color in, write up all these panels, work on the script and everything, and put it out within, 7 days, and just do that week after week. It's just kudos to them.
I bet he's still feeling guilty as well. Remember that one chapter where he couldn't finish all the artwork?
Oh,
I bet he's still feeling guilt for that as well.
Yeah.
When he obviously takes so much pride in his work.
Yeah, I felt so bad for him when that happened. Well, hopefully, I don't know, hopefully this makes Shonen Jump kind of back off him a little bit, and gives him a little bit more breathing room, and maybe he can get some assistants to help him out with the manga a little bit.
He has assistants already, doesn't he?
I think he probably does. I'm not sure how many he has. Maybe he can get a few more in there to help him out with that.
Yeah. Okay. So, is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think that was it.
Oh, okay, cool. So thank you for joining us this week. Ash, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at King Cocoa Butter.
You're on. You're doing YouTube still, aren't you?
Yes, yeah. I'm back on doing my reviews week to week. Unfortunately, I don't have an official YouTube channel yet, just because I don't have enough subscribers yet. But if you go to my Twitter bio, you'll see a link to my YouTube channel, and you'll find all my videos there. So I'll be, because My Hero Academia is off next week, I'll be probably back on the podcast here. I'll also be doing One Piece and The Promised Neverland reviews next week. And I'm going to be adding Dr. Stone into that rotation as well. Ooh. As soon as I catch back up to the manga, which I dropped 15 chapters ago because I was just too busy with other things. And then I'm also looking at possibly also putting Hunter x Hunter into that rotation as well. So a lot of stuff happening next week.
Yeah. And people can also find your editorials on the One Piece podcast website.
Yes.
They're very good reading.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, right now I'm the only one that's putting out readings, so unfortunately all the stuff you see on there will be mine, but if you like it, please do give it a read and leave comments.
Cool. And you can find me on Twitter at Choppers Antlers. You can find the podcast at MHA Pod. We're also on www.mhapod.com. We're on Reddit and Tumblr. So thank you for joining us. Kendra's not here, so to use to force the go beyond.
Plus Ultra.
Woo!
Yeah.
She's the cheerleader.
Yeah, I think next week she'll probably force us to do the full energy, but this week you'll just have to put up with ours.
Please join us again next week. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
This is my hero.